Hey everybody, welcome back to Hey Nurse Angel. And on this episode, I'm bringing to you my very good friend. She's actually been my friend, I think the longest. You're my longest lasting friend ever.
Yeah.
We've been friends since we were like a few months old, went to daycare together, grew up together. She owns a business called doulaforu, and this is my friend, Alyssa.
Hey.
Welcome to Hey Nurse Angel.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you for joining me. So today we are going to be talking all about a specific topic within your services, and that topic is postpartum doula. So Can you just explain what postpartum doula is?
So as a postpartum doula, I am the support person for a family once they've returned back home after having a new baby. So I am putting, focus on mom and her recovery, babies, journey on the outside of, the mother's womb. So in, newborn care. I also am the person that provides different referral services for things outside of my scope that are more along the clinical line of care for our new families. So things like pediatricians, mental health specialists, lactation consultants, things of that nature. I provide referrals for people who do provide those services.
So you're like a long list of referrals and resources.
Right. So I'm like the source that you go to get referrals for everything that you need in the postpartum world.
I love that. So then what is the difference? I know people, when they hear doula, they think Erykah Badu and her being and people realize there is a difference between a birthing doula and a postpartum doula. So can you explain the difference?
Right. Yeah, definitely. So a birth doula is the support person for a mom during labor, birth, and immediate postpartum. So they're there to help you basically, with different positions, mentally, emotionally, and physically there to help you through labor, birth, and postpartum. For postpartum doula, I'm there mainly the first 3 months after baby's born, which is considered the fourth trimester. Mm-hmm. And I'm there to basically help physically, emotionally, and mentally as well, but just in the aftercare part. So, moms that are healing from C-sections, from vaginal birth, I actually am there to provide care during that time.
Yes. So you said something really important that I really want to touch on really quick, and I'd rather you chime in because I feel like they hear enough from me. But fourth trimester, people don't realize that that's actually a thing. Like when I tell people, like, oh, you're going through your fourth trimester, I'm like, wait, what?
Right. They're like, oh, it's just 3 and it's over. Nope, it keeps going.
Right. So can you just explain what the fourth trimester is?
Yeah, of course. So the fourth trimester is it comes right after the birth of your baby. So it's considered the first 3 months that baby's born. Yeah. So the first 3 months of baby's life is that crucial part in the beginning of, child rearing. Mm-hmm. And it's the part where you're not only having to take care of your new baby, this baby that you just met, but you're also trying to heal and take care of yourself after giving birth to this baby.
Absolutely. Because it's literally like you have to learn how to split up your time between the two, because you still have to nurture yourself in a sense, but you also have this new being in your presence that's also going to require 100% of you as well.
Like 150%. Listen, that's a vulnerable.
So that's where that's where postpartum doula comes in. You are that you help make the moms to be in this new entity of themselves.
Mm-hmm. I'm like the extra set of hands that comes in and allows you to bond with your baby and not have to worry about the little things like, oh, I have to wash baby's laundry. I have to wash my laundry. Let me change my sheets, or let me cook a meal. I do all of those little things so that it takes away that time that would be spent away from you bonding with your baby.
Wow.
Or it's also the time where I go and hold your baby so that you can take a shower peacefully and uninterrupted.
Right. And not be like, it's the baby crying and rushing out and checking in. And
right.
I love it. Okay. So in terms of, I know you help with all that. How do you help in terms of breastfeeding?
So actually, so there's a lot of moms that are very serious about wanting to breastfeed, which is, I'm all for it. So what we do is a lot of times when moms hire me before they've even had their babies, we establish a breastfeeding journey plan. So how do we start that off? What does it look like? What does success in breastfeeding look like for you? And then we kind of make a little detailed plan according to what mom's desires are, how long they're looking to breastfeed for, are they looking to supplement, and who are our support persons that are going to be there to support us in this journey. Because you always want to make sure you're surrounded with people who are going to support you in this journey, encourage you in this journey, and have those resources for you if there's an issue with breastfeeding. Breastfeeding in that first 2 weeks is super duper hard.
Yes.
So I always make a list for my clients of things that they should probably have before we start the breastfeeding journey, just to make it a little less daunting.
Right. And so I don't want to get people to get confused. You're not a lactation consultant. So
I'm not a lactation
have resources to such things if it's to the point that you and mom can't figure it out.
Right. So I help with basic breastfeeding knowledge. So with latch, does the latch look good? Positioning, things that you would need, such as a comfortable place to breastfeed, the stool that you would put your foot on so that your shoulders, your body's relaxed, and baby can kind of get that vibe of you being relaxed, and you're not hurting your necks and your shoulders while you're breastfeeding. Things like cold and hot packs. Just making sure I have the basic knowledge for moms who want to breastfeed is where we start off from. If there's things that I cannot diagnose, such as, when a baby has a tongue tie or a lip tie, those are things that I'm not qualified to diagnose or recognize. And so therefore I have a team of lactation consultants that I can always refer out to my clients, depending on where they live, things that they're looking for. I have a list of people that I can always refer to them.
So then in terms of, okay, you say you come in and you help breastfeed. How soon do you actually, if your client has the baby on the 19th, are you available for baby on the 20th?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what I do is, of course, for the most part, a lot of moms do hire me as, before they give birth. And so therefore it gives me that time to kind of establish, okay, let me put aside a little, like a week or two where I know mom is expecting.
What do you feel is the most important thing about your job?
I think the most important thing that I can offer at my job is the fact that I can recognize when something is out of my scope. So if there's a mother who is showing, classic signs of postpartum depression or the baby blues, those are not things that I can take care of or handle on my own or diagnose on my own. And so with the common knowledge that I have from, being a postpartum doula for so long, is being able to refer them to a professional so that they can get the help that they need, so that they can better care for themselves and better care for their babies.
Right.
So being able to provide those referrals to my clients, I think is really, really important. Aside from the peace of mind of just being able to come in and kind of give them a break so that they can pay more attention to, taking care of themselves and their babies and bonding with their babies. I think that's the biggest thing about my job that I really think makes a difference.
Yes, absolutely. So then I love that because mental health is a huge thing. And so being able for someone to have that outside source, you're not judging them, but at the same time, you know what to look for. As a nurse, I kind of know in the postpartum phase, if you're in the NICU with your baby and I can see, you just aren't bonding as well or whatever the case may be, I kind of have a telltale sign. Okay, let's talk to the doctor. Let's look at some resources for it. So to be able to have that at home, I think is huge. Cause I feel like a lot of moms, their baby blues is something's wrong with me. No, that's actually very normal to go. a baby boost portion. It's
Exactly.
working through it. If I don't see you working through it, then that's something that we need to like, okay, let's go get it checked out.
Right, definitely. And so with that, it's like so many stigmas attached to mental health, and especially through the postpartum period, you don't really hear a lot of people talk about the things that mom goes through postpartum. You
Yeah.
hear about everything throughout the pregnancy, the belly's getting bigger, or you go and to your sonogram appointments and things like that, or the birth. But no one really ever talks about what's normal, what's not normal in the postpartum period. And so therefore a lot of moms are unaware that something that they may be going through needs attention,
Right.
you know? And they just kind of like, I think we're taught a lot of times to just buckle down and bear with it. And it doesn't have to be that way.
Right. Right. How does scheduling work for you, like in regards to you and your moms?
You know what? I kind of go based upon what works best for my families,
Okay.
what works best for their schedules. We have a lot of moms who are just like, you know what? I need you to just show up at my house and be here and make sure I don't do the wrong thing. Or, I just need you a couple hours here of the day to cook a meal for us and then put a load of laundry in and fold it for me. Or I need you to come in overnight because I haven't slept in like 2 days, and I just need a peace of mind knowing that someone qualified is there to care for my baby overnight, and I can actually get a full night's rest. Whereas, I I just feel like there's so many different schedules that I offer. It just depends on what moms or what their families,
What they need.
what works best for them.
So you're very client-based oriented.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Uh-huh.
It's not what works for my schedule. Basically, it's what works for your schedule.
Yeah.
What is it that you need? And a lot of times before you have the baby, you don't know what you're going to need until after you have the baby.
You're like, oh, I need this.
Right.
I feel it. I ain't had a baby yet, but I can only imagine. She gonna be y'all. My baby, she gonna be here.
I'll come doula you through it, girl.
Appreciate you. So then, in regards to all that, what all the services do you offer?
So I actually, aside from postpartum doula services, I also offer birth doula services. That is a new service that I just started offering this summer. I also offer birth planning services. So if you already have kind of what you want to do for your birth, but because of COVID, you don't know how many people are going to be allowed in a birth room at your hospital, or you don't quite know if you want to labor at home or you want to labor at the hospital, all kind of things. We sit down virtually, meaning I can work with anyone across the world virtually, and we put together a detailed plan and questions that you can ask your doctor in your hospital during the virtual tour that'll better help establish what it is that you want for your labor, what it is that you want from your birth, and your expectations.
Right.
And that, makes a detailed plan so that you can also give that to your birth team so that everybody's on the same page with what it is that you want.
Right. I think that's awesome because one thing that we always tell our NICU nurses, like when they become moms, we always say don't do a birthing plan because we just have a bad, what's the word for it? Almost like a jinx. Like when NICU nurses become moms and you create a birthing plan, everything goes wrong. So they always tell you like, don't go in with the knowledge of like, this is kind of what I want, but don't be so detailed.
So the thing about that is what I always like to emphasize with moms who have birth plans is be flexible, because at the end of the day, baby's going to do what baby wants to do.
Right.
Right, babe. This is the baby's world. And you'll see that too in the 4th trimester. Stay tuned. But I feel like if you have a general expectation of what it is that you want, like for instance, you have a mom going into labor, her goal was to not use any kind of medication or whatever it is.
Mhm.
and the doctor comes in and says, hey, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, this, and that. Okay, cool, you're on board. And that may not have been a part of your birth plan. And so if someone is in labor and they're at that weak point where they're like, you know what, I might just need the epidural, but they've talked it over with their family beforehand, then they may just be like, okay, you know what, just give me the epidural. But
Yeah.
if it's in their birth plan to kind of, okay, give me a safe word. Once I say my safe word, that means, you know what, just give me whatever, and let's, that's you being flexible.
Right.
So I think it's just, as long as moms are flexible and have the expectations that it may not go exactly how you plan, I think that's the key. You got to be flexible, because if you go in there and you're not flexible with your birth plan, everything will be exactly the opposite of what you wanted. I just think as long as you're flexible, that's key.
Okay. I like that. I gotta remember that for myself.
Oh girl, we're gonna make you a fire birth plan.
Birth plan.
Fire.
So in regards to you finally, let's say you get your client, is your client allowed to contact you before giving birth with questions and concerns?
Yeah, so again, like I said, most moms contact me before they've even had their babies. And so once you put your deposit down, and that takes that time that you're expected to deliver your baby, I take that time off my calendar, and you're free to call me, text me, email me with all the questions that you want and need. But before that even happens, we will have sessions, like a virtual session for your postpartum planning, because we got to have a plan. If you just kind of go into it blindly, then you don't really, not all moms know exactly what to expect, whether it's your first, second, or third baby or more. It's always good to have that postpartum planning session. And so before the baby even gets here, for postpartum, we'll sit down for maybe an hour virtually, and I'll ask a series of questions. We kind of go from there. Who's there? Who else is there to support? Do we have mom or dad visiting in town? Other hands that are going to be there at the household? Or, and that's just because of COVID, where it's virtually. A lot of times I do meet that client in their home.
Right.
And so once I'm there, we'll go over like a lot of planning for what your expectations are in your postpartum period.
Right. Love it. Okay. So then what are some misconceptions about being a postpartum doula?
Oh, girl. We are nannies. We're glorified babysitters. We are night nurses, baby nurses, and none of those could be further from the truth. I'm not a babysitter. I'm not a nanny. We do so many things underneath the umbrella of being a postpartum doula that it's so hard to just classify just one thing.
Right.
So I don't do anything clinical in that sense. That's why I do come with a slew of referrals for those people who do provide those services. So if there's anything that you need that is out of my scope, such as diagnosing something as little as a fever, I can't say, oh, let's take your temperature. That's a clinical task. And so that's not something that I offer, which in case I would refer you to a doctor. But say, for instance, you haven't established a pediatrician. I have a list of those too.
You're like, don't you worry.
Don't you worry.
A long list.
Pull out my Rolodex.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. I love that. I didn't see, and that's something I said I've always heard, like, oh, there's like, but then again, it's funny because as a NICU nurse, you hear things like, y'all are just glorified nannies. It's like, not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
No.
Little things that we do that
right.
No offense to any nannies out there, but yeah, like that's just it's different.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah, it's definitely different. And nannies are more just centralized on the child, whereas my focus is on the healing of the mom, and bonding mom and baby, bonding dad and baby, bonding siblings and baby, because, you know, you have siblings and the babies are like, okay, well, who's this new kid on the block? And so I help create, you know, I help facilitate a space where they can bond as well.
Nice. Okay. See, I'm learning stuff. I love this. Oh, shameless plug. Shameless plug. Where can everybody find you for more information about you and your services?
Cool. My website is www.doulaforu, doulafor, the letter u.com. Same name for my Facebook, for Instagram, or you can give me a call, area code 310-213-2205, or shoot me an email. That's doulaforu, for, the letter u.ca@gmail.com.
Yes, y'all. Get into it. At the end of the day, it is an awesome resource that she is providing. She's my great friend, so I promise you she's going to take good care of you. I wouldn't steer y'all wrong. So check her out.
Happy we did this.
What?
I'm so happy we did this.
I am too. Thank you for doing it with me.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course.